This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have a Bosch dishwasher that isn't draining. This is more of a modern one. And we're going to go ahead and figure out what's causing the drain problem. So if you ever want to get one of these to drain once the power's on, you can press the start button for 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3. And when you close the door, that resets the computer and starts a drain cycle. Drain cycle will also happen right when the dishwasher starts. So now we filled it with water. We got a nice full contention of water. Close it. We're going to do that drain cycle thing again where we press it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and we close it. It should start to drain. Bosch dishwashers drain kind of in a funny way though. They drain for a second, they stop, they drain for a second, they stop, drain for a second, stop, and then when they start they do a long drain after that, but they kind of pulse for the first 3 or 4 pulses and then you have a continuous drain. A dishwasher like this that has a long black tube for the drain line is not ideal because these long black tubes, they tend to get crimped more easily than the ribbed type of dishwasher drain hose that comes with most dishwashers. So that's probably what's going on, is this is probably getting crimped behind the dishwasher and it's not letting the water flow out of the dishwasher fast enough. So still some water in there. We're just checking all the different places where there might be a clog. So I'm going to press 1, 2, 3 seconds and then I'll close it and see if we can get rid of the water. So the computer gives the dishwasher a certain amount of seconds for all the water to leave. And if the water doesn't leave in the right amount of time, you'll get an error code or you'll get an error light. And you got to figure out where the clog is. Sometimes you can have a bad drain motor, but Bosch drain motors are pretty good. We're going to go over in this video how to change the drain motor, because in this case I think it was probably worn out, but also we ended up having a drain tube that was the wrong kind of material and it was actually crimped. I think the garbage disposer is a little further away in this house from the dishwasher than normal, so they used an extended non-factory drain tube to get the water to go out to the disposer, and that's really what ended up causing the trouble. They have this little connection to put the 2 tubes together, and there's a reduction in the diameter. They have a copper tube inside there that connects the 2 black tubes, and that's where things can get caught. So if you have this going on with yours, it'd be good to order a new factory Bosch dishwasher drain tube that has a ribbed type setting that's very hard for those to get crimped. So I'm going to test the drain function again. I'll push in 1, 2, 3. The blinking light there we see will stop blinking, and that tells us that it's ready to drain. We'll close the door, and then the computer is going to drain for a certain amount of seconds, and hopefully all the water can come out. Now we can actually see the water pulsing into this little glass beaker. It starts, it stops, starts, stops. That's normal. And I think it's on the 3rd or 4th time. It'll just continually drain, drain, drain. And that's exactly correct for the Bosch dishwasher. Also the Miele dishwasher does that too. So it is coming out, but the volume, how fast it's coming out, does not seem right. So that points toward a weak drain motor or still an obstruction or a crimped hose. And again, since they use a non-factory hose, I've seen this type get crimped down to a very narrow aperture, and the water just cannot flow out fast enough. So I'm going to close the door again. That'll finish activating the drain cycle. And then I'm going to do a couple more things here to get this to drain. I'm going to try to clear out the drain hose if there's an obstruction. And I'm also going to be replacing the drain motor. Drain motors are pretty cheap. Still some water left in there. So I'm going to break the connection between these two drain pipes, and you can see there's a copper tube in there that's not ideal because that gets down to a smaller aperture and things get caught. So this is the tube here in my left hand that's coming directly from the dishwasher, and that's the wrong material. That is not what you're supposed to see. It's supposed to be a white plastic that is more corrugated look to it, more ribbed, and that allows it to bend a little bit better. So the water's coming out pretty fast now when we just have it going out of the shorter pipe. I do have a tool that I'm going to use that's a CPAP tube cleaning tool. It costs about $10 from Amazon.com. So CPAP is C-P-A-P tube cleaning tool. You can get it from Amazon. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty long snake. It goes way back into the drain tube. And I'm just going to push it in there as far as it'll go to see if I can feel any kind of an obstruction. And then I'll pull it out and do that a few times. And the idea here is just to make sure that that drain tube is clear and nothing's caught in it. A lot of dishwashers have an air gap up near the kitchen faucet, and that very often is where you're going to find some crud caught in there that's blocking the drain. This one does not have that. This one drains directly to the garbage disposer, so we know that the air gap's not a problem. So I cleaned it out, just seeing if the volume's any different now coming out. It's still pretty good, but probably not fast enough to get all the water out in the given amount of time from the computer. If it doesn't get all the water out, you'll get the error code that'll pop up. The way you can tell all the water got out is we can actually see it here, but you can also hear it. When you hear the frequency of sound change near the end of the drain cycle, that's called a dry sump. That means it's gotten all the water out. Here's the new drain motor. I pulled the electrical connector off of the upper right hand corner. I grabbed it and twisted it to my right. I'm going clockwise. I drained all the water out of the sump, and I turned it about 45 degrees, and I'm going to pull it off. Turn it all the way to the right, pull it out of the dishwasher. And then we'll be able to put a new one in too. Here's the old one. So I'm spraying a little Windex on the rubber seal. You can put any kind of oil or lubricant on there before you add it in. It makes it a little bit easier to install. So I'm going to bring it in on a 45-degree angle and push it in as far as it'll go, inward pressure. And then I'll turn the whole drain motor to my left, and I'm going to go counterclockwise, and that's going to lock it into the lugs that hold it. So I'm pushing in, and then I'm going to be pushing and turning at the same time to my left to lock it in. Almost there. Turn it a little further to my left. Pretty good amount of resistance. There we go. Now I'll go ahead and take the modular power connector in the upper right hand corner, get that in position, and I'll push it in, wiggle it, push it until it locks in. So it's nice. You can do all this just from the front of the dishwasher by removing the bottom panel. It comes out with 2 Phillips head screws, but you don't have to uninstall the dishwasher. So now with the new motor in there, it's moving the water a little bit faster. Not a big difference. I'd say about maybe 20% faster. And that's really what it needed in this case, was a new drain motor. A little bit unusual for Bosch. Usually they last a long time, but this one seemed like it maybe wore out a bit prematurely. So we've solved it. Now we're just going to put it all back together. I'm just doing a little more testing. Remember, if you want it to drain, you just press in on that start button for 3 seconds. There we go. All right, that's good. So I'm going to put it back together. I'm going to put the drain tube back onto the garbage disposer and reconnect these two. There's a little copper tube. And then I'll just tighten up on all those hose clamps. When you have these drain tubes that come directly from the dishwasher and they don't go through an air gap up by the kitchen faucet, it's very important that you create a large upward arch with the drain tube, so that the drain tube, the top of the drain tube, and its top of its arch goes a little higher than the garbage disposer itself. And that's so the dirty water will not flow into the garbage disposer from the sink and flow backwards into your dishwasher. Effectively, that's what an air gap does. So go ahead and tighten those hose clamps so there's no leak. And I'm going to bend that tube up high. There we go. That's what we want to do. That's a nice high arch like that. I'm going to fill it up again just so I can do one more test. All right, let's see how much water we got in there. Oh yeah, that's great. It's all the way up higher than the round filter handle, just right at the top of that. That's perfect. I'll press my start button for 3 seconds. There we go. Close the door. And it's going to take 2 to 3 minutes, and it should be all drained. You should be able to hear a difference too when you hear it draining at the sink. It should be a little bit louder when it's draining properly. So all the water drained out, perfect. And that solved the problem. We'll put a link in the description below so you guys can order a new drain motor if you need one for your modern Bosch dishwasher.
Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.